Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be my review of A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah Maas, which is the fourth and latest book in her Court of Thorns and Roses series. I was originally going to vlog this, vlog my reactions to whatever chapters or scenes were happening, but I kind of accidentally deleted the video of me talking before I started the book, and once I started, it took me about 4 days before I actually had anything interesting to say besides it's slow and I'm a little bored. So this is what you're getting from me, all my collected thoughts after I finished last night. It took me 5 days to read this book, to read this behemoth of a book. It took me forever to get through. It was a bit of a struggle in the first half, I'm not gonna lie, but I do want to recap some of the thoughts that I had before I started reading. I honestly did not know what to expect going into Nesta and Cassian's book. I do love the series. I'm not obsessed with it, but I do love it. My favorite, like everyone else's, is A Court of Mist and Fury, book 2. I gave book 1 4 stars. I gave book 2 5 stars. Book 3 was 4 stars, and the novella, I think I gave it 3 stars. So it's a solid series for me, and I do love the world. I was a little bit annoyed that we were getting another gigantic book from Sarah J Maas though. It's around 750 pages, which is not the longest from Sarah J Maas, but I think I was just annoyed because I went through Crescent City and that book was just not for me. But it is another gigantic book. I read it as an ebook. I wasn't able to pre-order it. I wanted to pre-order it from Barnes & Noble for the exclusive edition, but they were sold out right before release. I tried to pre-order it the weekend before last Tuesday and they were out of stock, so I got the ebook and read it there. The main thing that I was excited to read about Silver Flames was probably the steam, because Sarah J Maas said it was her steamiest book yet, and it turns out she was right, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So during my read, like I said, it was a very slow going for me. Usually I can finish a book in a day or two. I finished Crescent City in 2 days, but this book took me forever. I was kind of distracted while reading it. I just could not get into the story. It took me 4 days to finish 2/3 of it, and then I pretty much binged the last third all of yesterday, mostly last night. I also took breaks while reading this one. I read and finished a smutty novella. I also reread some of my favorite parts from A Court of Mist and Fury. It was just a struggle for me to stay focused on Silver Flames because I was not really feeling Nesta or Cassian in the beginning. The first half, I was just ready to give this 3 stars and skim the rest of it, but thankfully the second half does pick up so much better and I got a lot more invested in the story in Nesta and Cassian. Also, this part of the video is going to be spoiler free. I'll talk about all my spoiler free thoughts and then start talking about some big spoilery things that I will warn you about before I get into. My overall rating for Silver Flames is 4 stars. I didn't love it. I just could not love it because of the first half, but the second half was just so much better and made up for my struggles with the first half. I liked it, I enjoyed it, I didn't love it, but it is on par with my feelings for book 1 and book 3. The book is split into 4 parts and my favorites were parts 3 and 4. So if you're like me and the first half is just not clicking with you, all I can say is that the second half is so much better and definitely worth reading. This fourth book picks up a little bit after the ending of book 3. The war is over, but there are still some enemies. Nesta is traumatized over the death of her father, and it's the main reason why she is just so miserable. She's also really angry at being turned against her will into a fae. She was forced into the cauldron, which ripped her humanity away from her, but she also in turn ripped something away from the cauldron, giving her some interesting powers. She hates herself, she hates everyone else, and she just spirals downward into a really dark place. I understood why she did this. I understood why Sarah J Maas decided to start the book like this, but I got bored of it 50 pages in. I did not want to read hundreds of pages of Nesta just being so full of hatred, self-loathing. She's just so angry at herself, at everyone else, and pushes everyone away, is so hateful to everyone that I got tired of it, mainly because it just went on for way too long. I wanted her to actually do something about this anger, but she doesn't, not until much later than I wanted. So while I felt for Nesta, I was also a little bit annoyed with her. So this is why it took me forever to get through this book. I was just too bored with the beginning. I wanted something to happen, and things finally do pick up when Cassian and the rest of the gang forcefully dump Nesta into training. This is when things start to get interesting. I believe this is the start of part 2. Nesta is forced to live with Cassian, who is her trainer, and they have Azriel as their chaperone. Because we all know Nesta and Cassian want each other, but Nesta has pushed Cassian so far away that nothing has picked up between them yet. The training was good. This is basically the start of Nesta's character growth, her character growth and development. She finally starts to channel that anchor into something useful. One of my favorite parts about this book, and one of the parts that really made me invested into the story, was Nesta's found family. Just like Feyre found her found family in the first 3 books, Nesta gets her own found family with 2 best friends. She forms this found family with Emery, who is an Illyrian whose wings have been clipped, and Gwyn, who is a priestess who works at this library that Nesta is also forced to work at. All 3 of them connect with each other, connect over their past trauma. All 3 of them have really tragic pasts, but they start to train together. They start to train as Valkyries. They become Valkyries. I just love this girl gang and their friendship. I love the training that they did, all the conversations that they have, and honestly I was just feeling so happy for Nesta that she finally finds a family of her own, because at this point Nesta feels so far apart from her 2 sisters, from Feyre and Elaine. The romance was good. I didn't love Cassian or Nesta really, but they were still solid characters. The romance flowed slowly but naturally. I like that Cassian was able to push Nesta when she needed him to. The romance, I mean, it was a 4 out of 5 stars for me, so I wasn't head over heels in love with their romance, but it was still good and I liked the way that it played out. The steam, like I mentioned earlier, sjmaas said it was her steamiest book, and it definitely is compared to earlier books. There is a lot more steam, but it is pretty standard for like a romance reader. There's nothing too out there, too kinky. It was just very good in terms of quantity and also explicitness. Like there's definitely no closed door kind of stuff here, but if you're used to sjmaas or you're more of a YA reader, this will definitely be a lot more than you're used to. So overall thoughts, it was a solid read even with the slow beginning. Once you get through it, it's great. The second half had the most action, the last part, the 4th part, and the ending. So much going on, but I love the ending and I am very curious to see which character is getting their book next, which I will be getting into soon, but right now I'm gonna start talking about all the spoilers in Silver Flames, so if you haven't read it yet and you want to avoid all the spoilers, feel free to skip this part. So the first topic that I need to talk about is Feyre and Rhys's baby. I was not expecting this to happen so soon. It hasn't been that long since the end of the war from book 3, and plus when I was rereading A Court of Mist and Fury, I read that part where Feyre and Rhys talk about wanting children but not anytime soon, and this I think would be considered pretty soon. I remember when I reread that part I was curious if sjmaas would ever give us a Feyre and Rhys baby, but she did. My friend Jessica from Peace Love Books was texting the group chat saying how she was getting some Twilight vibes from this book. I guess it's more Breaking Dawn vibes though, but I can totally see where she got that, because this baby is pretty much supposed to kill Feyre during childbirth. It was interesting that Nesta gave up all her powers to save Feyre and the baby. She does keep a little bit of her power, some of her Silver Flames power, but I did actually think that Nesta might have been in the running to be High King, High Queen of all of the Fae, because Cass and Az both want Rhys to become High King, but I was thinking that since Nesta is so freaking powerful with that cauldron power, she might end up being the High King, High Queen, but since she gave up most of her power, I guess that's not happening and Rhys is still in the running, even though he doesn't want to, but I have a feeling he might. Also, while Feyre was pregnant, Rhys was such a dick to Nesta. I wanted him to chill out. He was just so awful to her, even though he knew she was already so down. So he was not my favorite in this book, and it was a little annoying that it took Nesta saving Feyre's life and the baby's life for Rhys to finally forgive her or whatever, to give up all this anger towards her and practically worship her now, which was really great to see. The blood rite was one of my favorite parts of the book. I always love action in my fantasies, and this whole part with the Valkyries, with Nesta, Gwyn, and Emery trying to climb up that mountain and win the blood rite and trying to survive. This was exactly the kind of action and intensity that I was looking for in this book. All three of them kicked ass here and I loved it. I also did love learning a little bit of the background of this blood rite, and also learning about Cass, Az, and Reese's blood rite. That was really great to read. So some side characters that I have some thoughts on. Tamlin is kind of insane now. He's been living in his monster shifter form and just not being a High Lord anymore. I actually liked Tamlin, I'm not gonna lie. I liked him in book 1, and then sjmaas, you know, obviously ruined his character to make it easier for Feyre and Rhys to get together. So I don't wish the worst for him, but I do need him to get himself together. Elaine, Nesta, and Feyre's sister still isn't really doing much. I will say though, this book does give more explanation about Elaine not doing much, and that's because Feyre and Nesta don't let her. But I just want to know why Elaine is so against the mating bond with Lucien. I have so many questions and I just want answers, because I do love the idea of their mating bond and their possible romance. I was so intrigued when Elaine came out of the cauldron and then Lucien's like, oh my god, you're my mate. But we still don't know why Elaine is so against it and so against Lucien. Eris is a character that I completely forgot about until I started reading this book, and he does actually play a pretty big role in this book. He double crosses his father, his High Lord, to work with Rhys, mainly because he's power hungry, but I am intrigued by his character and there seems to be a lot more going on with him, especially from what happened at the end of the book. There also seems to be a lot more behind what happened all those years ago when Mor was left for dead by her family. So Eris might not have been 100% the bad guy regarding what happened with Mor. Mor is mostly gone in this book, which kind of sucked because I do like her character, but there does seem to be something between Mor and Emery. Emery was definitely crushing on Mor whenever she would show up, so I hope that's a thing. I just want Mor and Emery, both of them, to be happy, and if it's together, that's great. Another side character that I loved was the house that Nesta and Cassian live in. The House of Wynn, it becomes this sentient being that becomes Nesta's friend, her family, and her home, literally. I thought the house was so cute, so charming and adorable. It loves romance books like Nesta and her friends do. I just really love that house. Now for some predictions. I may or may not have read some bonus chapters. I will neither confirm nor deny, but I am 90% sure that we are getting Azriel's book next. Well, it's more like I want him to be next. Right now, Az has two possible ships, two possible love interests. One is Elaine and the other one is Gwyn. I am Team Gwyn, though I will say I can totally understand why a lot of people want Azriel with Elaine. In the bonus scene, Az is pretty much just super horny for Elaine. They almost kiss before Rhys cockblocks them. The main reason why Az wants to be with Elaine is because he believes that since his two brothers are with two sisters, he thinks that he should be with the third sister, which, I mean, okay, does make sense. I can see why a lot of people do ship Elaine with Az, because sjmaas has teased them a little bit. There are some scenes where they're really friendly, always smiling at each other, being super close, but I'm Team Gwyn. I want Az to be with Gwyn. In part, it is because I do want to see where this mating bond between Elaine and Lucien go. I just want to see how that turns out, and I want some answers. And also, Nesta kept going on and on about Elaine not fitting in the night court. She loves gardening, she loves flowers, which is very much a spring court thing, but in Silver Flames there is a lot of good banter and some chemistry between Gwyn and Az. During their trainings especially, they are so cute together. Both of them sing, and also Az was the one who saved Gwyn when her family died. So I am crossing my fingers that Az and Gwyn are going to be a thing and that they're going to be the next book. There are supposed to be 2 more books after A Court of Silver Flames. I'm not sure I want an entire book about Elaine though, with whoever she ends up with, unless Sarah J Maas can somehow make Elaine more interesting. But I for sure need a book about Az and his romance. So that's it for my thoughts on the spoilery parts. If I had to rank the series now with book 4, A Court of Mist and Fury is still my number 1. And then I would say my second is A Court of Silver Flames. Third is honestly a tie between Court of Thorns and Roses and Court of Wings and Ruin. And last is the novella A Court of Frost and Starlight. I actually just bought myself the novella, the hardcover of the novella with the original cover, because I know I'm gonna be so annoyed if I don't have the completed series and also don't have the matching covers, because I loved these covers and I'm so annoyed they decided to change it and change it halfway through. These new covers are just so not good with this series. They're not ugly by themselves, but for the series I just hate them. But I did end up asking my cousin to get me the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Silver Flames for my birthday, and I should be getting it this Friday, so that is something to look forward to. I thought about going in store at Barnes & Noble to get it for the vlog. That didn't happen, but I was just too lazy to go out. That's it though for my review of A Court of Silver Flames. Let me know your thoughts if you read this book. If you're gonna say something spoilery, just make a little warning at the beginning of your comment so people can know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!